something as rotten and twisted as our land has become. It was not always so. Long ago, the old empire, the noblest and most enduring society created by humankind, spanned almost the entire continent of Zerine, the cradle of man. But after several millennia of progress and incomparable achievements, inevitably, the empire began to fall into stagnation and decadence. Desperately holding on to their privileges and resisting change while trying to avert the collapse of the realm, the emperor and his theocracy took to measures that were worthy of true despots in cruelty. Subjugating weaker realms, enslaving whole nations, strip mining foreign resources, oppressing imperial citizens, war on several fronts, genocide. Eventually, the gods could no longer tolerate such horrors wrought in their name. Foretold by an abundance of divine omens, they descended upon the empire to right its wrongs. Thus, in a chain of dreadful events that became known as the Calamity, they annihilated the empire in a matter of days. The gods then finally saw what they had done in their anger and confusion. It is said that so much grief and shame filled them that they were broken, and they left this reality, never to return. The continent and its inhabitants seemed dead, but at length survivors began to crawl out of their hiding holes and faced a land that no longer welcomed them. Arcane anomalies, the fallout of the Calamity, now riddled the continent, and people realized that they had to share their new home with changed and twisted creatures. Terrible beings entered through the cracks in the tapestry of reality, arose to rule over the natives. In time, these new powers rebuilt the fallen empire in their own image, and the Riven Realms, now godless and vengeful, reincarnated from the ashes. The inhabitants of the land, such as I, now eke out a living under the crushing rule of the new empire. The continent itself constantly resists our every attempt at building a cozy home for ourselves. As travel is dangerous, many ventures specialize in transferring cargo and passengers over bleak and deadly leagues of land. Others try to take everything of value from said travelers, or attempt to find buried treasures among the ruins of the old empire. The leaders of the endeavors are, some say, the bravest men and women of the Riven Realms. Such a leader is called a Vagrus.
Oh, my back. Jesus. Alrighty. Had to do some work. So, we're a little late. Rain. But, there we go. Let us continue. We're in the worm place where I think we're not going to do that much right now. At least for now. I feel like I have to. But we'll see, I suppose. We have a lot of soldiers. I think nothing was really worth buying here at all. Like, pots are kind of expensive. You can finish off that spice stack. I think even chitin and herbs are bad here. Yeah. Herbs are better here than in Larnac, but herbs don't sell that well almost anywhere. Herbs are kind of ass. So I think that's going to be it, basically. But let's continue and see if there's anything more here. Visit the war room in Prince Karim's villa. I mean, is there any point? Maybe if they offer me money, we'll consider it. How about that? Dark elven soldiers, clad in silver-trimmed black armor, usher you into the villa, now owned by the illustrious Prince Karim al-Buresh. Once inside, you're led to the war room by Tarkian servants belonging to your host's noble house. The chamber used to be a spacious bedroom, but is now a busy command center with maps strewn across tables, piles of parchments detailing logistical endeavors stacked on shelves, scouts reporting worm sightings, and even a detailed model of the city. Welcome, Vagrus, the prince hails you with a warm smile. The Krawl nods her head. You must be here to learn more about our current and dire predicament. As promised, we'll tell you everything. You accept the prince's invitation to sit down on a pile of comfortable Tarkian cushions on the balcony. The Krawl stands a few feet away, leaning on the balustrade. The worms have been wandering the southern deserts of the Searing Plains for several decades now. The prince begins his tale. But sightings were disregarded in general, especially by imperial authorities. You'll begin to see a pattern here, the Krawl butts in, to which the prince chuckles. Indeed, the presence of the creatures turned from nuisance to threat relatively suddenly several months ago. The worms began swarming, their numbers rising to yet unseen heights. They fell upon comitati, outposts, and travelers moving north, exterminating anything other than their own kind. Tectum Carvo survives because of our efforts and because of the hard rock it was carved into, but that will not save the town indefinitely. The worms can dig into this stone too, albeit slowly. And so we are trying to fortify ourselves to postpone the inevitable, sooner or later. Tectum Carvos will have to be evacuated. Many lives will be lost. Our assets and holdings will be lost. You ask why the Empire does nothing to help. I suppose the Imperials have their own worries nowadays, the prince says bitterly. Renewed war against the Green Continent. What's the Green Continent? Called Raukan, the Green Continent is to the north of the Riven Realms, and is believed to be a pristine, beautiful, fertile realm of clean air, vast mountain ranges, rolling green hills, and thick forests. It's about 3 times the size of Zerin, and it is connected to it via a series of large islands, including Vrolia and Viran. There is little to no communication between the two continents, due to constant war fueled by imperial leadership and religion. In imperial society and triumvirate dogma, the Green Continent, its gods and its people, are the reason for Zerin's downfall. Their constant rebellion against the enlightened rule of the Emperor and barbaric beliefs led to fierce war, to which the elder gods reacted with triggering the calamity in their confusion and madness. For this reason, it is considered the Empire's divine duty to wage war against Raukan and its inhabitants, a conflict that has been raging on and off ever since the reawakening of the Empire centuries ago. The 12 spearhead this effort, and Even though the constantly renewed war has destroyed most of Iran and all of Rolia, Imperials have not yet managed to actually set foot on the Green Continent. The chief reason for this is the collaboration of a large variety of nations and realms on Raukan, called the Sacred League, an economic and military alliance that has always managed to save them from total annihilation at the hands of the Dark Legions of the Empire. To the inhabitants of Raukan, the Empire of Zerin are anathema, a dark tyranny abusing magic, slaves, and undead. For the Imperials, the Sacred League is the great enemy, a vile collection of treacherous barbarians who stole their future. Okay. Renewed war against the Green Continent, the winds that went mad, imminent slave revolts, and more. No, this is a local conflict primarily in the jurisdiction of the town's magistrate, who, well, he at first did not acknowledge his responsibility while flat out refusing to call for help. Then he, I think, lost it. You're welcome to try and talk to him, even cite me having sent you, but I doubt you'll get anywhere. He's hiding in his villa topside, the Crawl interjects. Some buildings were built on top of the rock shelf, you see. And so without outside help, we are left to fend for ourselves. The prince continues, rubbing his temples. What was I to do? Abandon the people here? My people and all the rest? Besides, how would it make me feel? And I do care about its inhabitants, Vagrus. I also have a lot of time and coins invested into Tectum Carbos. I'd hate to see it devoured by abominable worms. You ask how you could perhaps make yourself useful. We need all the help we can get, the prince says, waving his delicate hand to indicate the town. A Vagrus such as yourself could get us much-needed supplies and raw materials for fortifications and defensive endeavors. We can pay, although not as much as you would get elsewhere, probably. Unfortunately, even my resources are stretched thin. You tell them that you'll think about it. The prince rises to leave, but turns to you once more. Feel free to explore the town if you haven't already, Vagrus, but don't expect much. We are a settlement under siege. Come back here if you have thought our offer over. And maybe we can extort them. I mean, that makes sense, right? Ask the prince about Dai Corvas and his herd. Ah, yes, the prince nods. I know of Dai Corvas, but I'm afraid I can't provide you any good news about him. You ask him to tell you everything he knows, nonetheless. Very well, he says. As you might know, Dai Corvas promised to bring me certain goods, rare spice plant seeds, magical fertilizers, marvelous devices, and other exotic items from all around Zerin. The price was set and I would have made him a rich man. I awaited his arrival eagerly. The prince takes a sip from his bejeweled cup. And arrive he did, he continues, but not how I had hoped. He came here harried and with a diminished herd, bearing none of the wares he promised. He was feeble and crazed, and spoke of a curse that befell his people, taking them one after the other. Dai Corvas asked, nay begged me for help. It was hard to see such a proud man abasing himself, but I could give him none. Instead, I advised him to seek out the mage, Incanus, who dwells in Avernum. The very next day he and what remained of his herd left, and that was the last time I saw him. Nadir sucks in the air through her clenched teeth. That is grave news, Vagrus, she tells you. I do not believe the Kalrish ever made it back to Incanus. Not if the curse has grown strong enough to decimate a whole herd. And besides, the master would have remembered him when we discussed the curse earlier. Hope fades, but still, our only chance is to return to Avernum and look for further clues, I'm afraid. You thank the prince for his help. Ask the prince and the Crawl about the worm hunters. Useless fortune seekers, the Crawl frowns. They did not come here when word of the town's sad fate was revealed to the outside world. They started coming when the Empire, in its infinite wisdom, put a bounty on sandworms. Bandage put hastily onto a severed arm. Well, at least they are here, the prince adds apologetically. And I hate to remind you, my dear Krall, you also arrived as a mercenary. Could at least some of the worm hunters not be inspired to take up arms and defend the town the way you did? I rather doubt it, and you know the difference all too well, the Krall says dryly. But I digress, and granted, we must take all the fighters we can get. Ask the prince and the Krall about the Dark Elves. Krall Hestera turns to you when you ask about the Dark Elven presence in town. In short, I came here to rest but found work, she says matter-of-factly. When she sees your attentive expression, she goes on. My unit took part in the conquering of the city of Tel-Gavran at the behest of our sovereign, the great prince Dradmar. We served with distinction, essentially hunting the city's defenses into extinction. In the final days of the assault on the Ebony Tower, the prince fell, and so we remained without a lord. The people of Tel-Gavran did not accept us. The Dradmar realm was taken over by his sister, who detested us, so we had to go into exile. We came to the surface to lie low for a while. That is how we ended up in Tectum Carvos, where dark elves used to live decades ago. Unfortunately for you, my dear, Prince Karim says with a wide smile, the worms arrived shortly after. He turns to you. We joined forces to protect our people here, and found that nobody else wants this responsibility. The Krall here commands her military unit, while I have my own small army. Krall is a military rank where I come from, the Dark Elf soldier clarifies when you ask her about it. A captain of sorts, but only those of noble blood can become one. Talk about something else. Ask the prince about the local Tarkians. Prince Karim looks out at the city as he begins to speak. I led my people here from faraway Tark, my beloved homeland. My ancestors fought for the founding of this Tectum, and thus retained the right to certain trade concessions and assets here. It has been neglected for a long time, but wishing to make a name for myself in a family of famous and successful Tarkian merchant lords, I decided to strike out and reclaim what's ours. The twin gods seem to have a sense of humor, however, as shortly after establishing an outpost here, the worms emerged to prey upon us. When you ask about his family, the prince bows his head. Genuine interest. I'm flattered. I hail from the Balburash dynasty, a sixth-generation trade prince myself. We specialize in spice and coffee, but like most Hanjari, we live for commerce in general. Ask the prince and the Krall about Tectum Corvus' magistrate. A useless man, holed up in his topside villa that doubles as the meager imperial garrison of Tectum Carvos, the Krall tells you. Their only task is to guard the magistrate, however. That should tell you everything. I personally believe that the magistrate cracked under the pressure of the town's gloomy predicament, and simply retreated into his own mind, where he has done everything he could. Prince Karim says and sighs. But in truth, even if he went through the official channels to gain support for the fight, he would not succeed. The Empire all but forsook Tectum Carvos. You're welcome to talk to him, even tell him you go in my name. But it will be in vain. Offer your help in the fight to save the town. Your offer is accepted, the princess, smiling. One such as yourself could be instrumental in our defense against the worms. We need resources, fighters, medical supplies, the works. You could bring these to us across the desert, something we cannot do right now. We would pay you, although probably somewhat less than at other places. But hey, you get to be the hero, the Krall says, and for the first time you see her smile. To specify, Prince Karim continues, we need obsidian and ivory for the traps and fortifications we are building, as well as mining equipment for the underground work. We're also low on people who can do the work, the Krall butts in, but mostly people who could organize the fortification efforts, overseers, taskmasters, slave drivers. Get us some, we'll cover their expenses. Lastly, fighters, the prince concludes. The more we have, the higher the chance we'll come out alive in the end. Of course, obsidian blades are most welcome so that we can arm them better. So are supplies and medical tools for what is to come. So, are you still in? I need to type this shit down. Tectum Carvos. They want obsidian, ivory, mining equipment, Workers? Question mark. Overseers, taskmasters, slave drivers. Fighters. Obsidian blades. Supplies, medical tools. Supplies are like impossible. Like there's no way to deliver supplies. You can't even buy enough supplies for yourself. Like you would have to like speed run Horzag, Devon, then all the way to Avernum, and then rush down to like run past all of the like Utvirar and Vitrar because they have cheap resources, and then just like go here only. Just stop by all the towns, and maybe you can outrun your own like needs. Some luck. What is that? A huge fucking thing. I think it's like a... I think it's like a... Oh, I see. It's a huge piece of dried orange peel. All right. Sure. Holy shit, nobody even got angry. I was expecting them to get mad. But I guess we're taking advantage of them. That's the idea here. Garrick is like, profit. That is scrumptious, the prince exclaims, and bows his head in respect. I hope to see you and your shipments in the future, Vagrus. May Ammon shine the light of truth on your path, and Inubis hide you from your enemies. Come here if you have something for us, the Kroll adds. You have your work cut out for you. What do you want? 250 supplies, medical supplies, mining equipment, 5 fighters. That's not a whole lot. We can give them that. Lost morale for giving fighters up. Here's some supplies. Medical supplies. Mining equipment. Now here's the question. How many medical supplies can we give them? I have 17 medical supplies left. I think we can give them more supplies. Level of preparedness, 27. Okay. Go topside to the magistrate's mansion. Once you ascend several sets of stairs carved from the stone of the cliffs, you arrive at the ridge on the top of the rock shell, high above the level of the sands that now stretch out to the horizon in all directions. Up here are only a few buildings baking in the sun, one of which is a castrum, a fortified villa that houses the handful of Imperial soldiers stationed here, as well as the home of Tectum Carvos' magistrate. There the guards inform you that their master does not entertain guests or have audiences for now, but sends his regard to all industrious Vagri passing through. You're here on behalf of the Krall and the Prince. After telling the guards in no uncertain terms on whose behalf you come, they usher you in begrudgingly. You're taken to the atrium to meet the magistrate, who is reclining on a sofa under a canopy of palm trees. Some pleasantries are exchanged, water is offered, and you can see that the elderly official is a polite host, but he is avoiding the topic of the town's current situation regarding the sandworms with great effort. That is until you begin pestering him with it, which turns the conversation into a cat and mouse game of sorts. You becoming quite exhausted, but no amount of convincing can make him at least accept that he should send for help or take part in the town's defenses. This will pass, is what he keeps repeating, and his demeanor suggests that the magistrate has lost his marbles somewhere along the way, and survives by not acknowledging what is going on in Tectum Carbos. Hello, Despes. Any new cities found? Yeah, I mean, this is a new one. This city is under attack from worms. Sandworms. And I'm joining the defenses, which basically just means shipping them obsidian, ivory, mining equipment, workers, slave drivers, fighters, obsidian blades, supplies, and medical tools. I can actually go over here to Crystal, because I finished the quest line here, and here you can ask the leader of the town for support against the worms. I don't really think you can ask anyone else nearby, but I don't know. Can you go through the gate yet? No, I haven't done anything there. I've been mostly over here on the west side, not really messed around with this much. I think to get in here, you probably have to deal with the wind that's howling up here. But I haven't really found anything there. The map's pretty big. Yeah, I think there might be... I don't know if there's... Yeah, there's stuff all the way up here. So yeah, it is pretty big. And I don't know if there's another map. I'm not sure. I know there's like an outland, like a different plane or a realm. But I don't know exactly what the DLC adds. At the heart of the ruin, Sunfire and Moonshadow.
They say that our ancestors perished because
Old acquaintances. Yeah, this seems to add a new region. But I'm not sure what region. It doesn't really say. I don't understand what this DLC is. Here's something called the Flamescar Cavern. The Crawling Underbelly. Yeah, I don't know what this is. Have they done anything else? I don't think so. I actually don't know. Vagrus, yeah, it's the first game. I think this is just a tiny DLC, which just adds some small stuff. Alright, these characters. Yeah, this is just 2 more characters. This one, I think this is the stuff that I found. This is the Outer Realms. Occupying the northwestern corner of the continent, a desert older than the Calamity lies between the Brown Mountains and the River Leth, the Bronze Desert. Okay. Yeah, I was just not sure if they had like another map that you could get to somehow, but not sure. But yeah, there's still a lot left. And I don't know if like the Underdark is a thing, right? Because I don't know where that would be. Because they keep talking about that. Here's the Crimson Desert, by the way. But I don't know if there might be another like underground map for where the Dark Elves live. But that might not be in the game. But either way, there's stuff all the way down here. And the characters can get so many levels that I imagine there's still quite a lot. Visit the Tarkian Quarter. Purchase Falcon! Oh, Spyglass! +5 scouting base chance. Does not see very far, the image is blurry. Sure, I'll take it. Falcon. Hunting base chance. +2 outpost acquires supplies productivity. What do you mean? What's acquire supplies? Outpost. Does this just mean like you just get more supplies when you succeed? Either way, I want the Falcon. Purchase Tarkanian mugwort from the locals. Why do I want mugwort? A valuable spice that is quite difficult to come by in the province and further south. Okay. All right. Well, that's all we can do here then. We can ask the girl to join us, I suppose. But I don't know if I want to, but I guess we can. I mean, if she leaves, then sure, whatever. But I think this might be a good character. Meaning, she's going to complain all the time when we, like, take people slaves and kill them. You know? But sure, let's try. Let's try just bringing her. Recruit Elani. You tell Elani that you have pledged yourself to aid Tectum Carvos in its fight against the sandworms. The warrior smiles and nods. So I've heard, and I'm a woman of my word. So, shall we join forces? Good. Can't wait to get on the road. Irofhans be my witness, the half-elf says and begins to pack her belongings, while her bird eyes you suspiciously. She moves over to the man-show, now a member of your crew. Alright. Do you have any main NPCs? Yeah, I have plenty. I have all of these guys. If that's what you mean. And as you see here, you can put them in certain positions inside of your comitatus, as it's called. I don't have a Marauder Prime. I don't have a Venaporis, which is basically it's Master Hunter, organizes hunting parties from your scouts, knowledgeable in beast lore and monsters, etc. Can you lose them? I think so, but I think it's really hard to lose them. But they have, if you look at them, they have here something called loyal or loyalty. The loyalty of your companion to the comitatus, and you in particular. Your choices and actions influence this standing, but each companion likes and dislikes different things. Talk to them and find out more. Better loyalty can open new story options with your companions, while low loyalty can lead them to abandon the crew eventually. Levels of loyalty are as follows. Loyal, friendly, congenial, neutral, disgruntled, resentful. He is congenial, neutral, loyal, neutral. He doesn't give a shit about anything. He's an undead chef. Loyal, congenial. Yeah. He has been getting a little cranky because he hasn't been liking me, like, enslaving people, I think. Though sometimes he likes it. So I'm not sure what it is that he doesn't like, but I'm still working on his quest as well. I'm surprised he's so low, actually. And I just got her as well. So yeah, they have little quest lines that you do. Maybe he likes some kind of slaves? I'm not sure. I think, like... I think it's been... well, I'm not sure. I don't really remember exactly. But I think it's been when I've been doing her quests. She gets really uppity whenever I try to enslave people. Because she's like, no, they've already been slaves. You can't enslave them again. So then she gives me a choice whether just setting them free or killing them, and I kill them every single time. And I think Renkylon doesn't like when I kill them. But I'm not sure if that's when he's complaining. But really, I just need to give him like items. And he'll come back. But yeah, it's time to head out. The desert beyond the North Gate appears barren as it shimmers in the sun's cruel light, but there is something unsettling about the dunes. The guards keep score of which of them spots more of the ripples of sandworms moving beneath the surface, a worrisome yet cheerful competition to lift their spirits. They warn you that if you leave, you might need to fight your way back. Let's rest one more day. My guys are a little massacred. Like, they're not doing that great. But I only have 8 days of food. Is he a mage? Renkylon? He's a scout. But he's trying to learn... He has throwing knives and shit. He's trying to learn how to... It's a little cringe. He's trying to learn the ability called a life drain, which is like... exactly what it sounds like, to extend his life, because he's scared of dying. He literally says he's scared of dying. But yeah, I need to head out no matter what now. So let's save. I would like to go down here and do these, but I think it would be a bad idea. Because I don't have the... I only have 8 days of supplies. And if I don't find anything down here, then I'm just kind of screwed. So I think we head over to Larnak just right away. And we're also wasting a bit of time. I'm a very rich boy right now. I have 837 bucks. Where's this fight? There, okay. So we go to Larnak. Let's go this way. Go to Larnak, buy soldiers, and then we head to the fight. Very difficult to travel here. Takes forever to move even one step. Alright. Supplies. Bright kelp is good to buy here. Okay, let's get some fighters. Nothing there. Where do we sell the silver? It was supposed to go to Vitrar. I don't think it's worth taking it there, though. I think maybe I'll just sell it here. Or we can save it for Mirage. The price in Mirage is decent. But yeah, so here we should buy Bright Kelp, Chitin, oil, and honestly I think just more Bright Kelp. Bright kelp is quite good. But we can buy some chitin too. And we can do this scrap. I like buying the scrap metal. I don't know, that's just what I'm doing right now. I just buy the scrap metal in every town and then I go and smelt it and then sell the ore. Or sell the bars. They want mining tools. Obsidian, ivory, whatever. But I'm not going back there right now, so doesn't matter. They don't want trap kits. They want obsidian blades. Shipment of salt. Do I sell that here? 20. No, it sells for 20 at Fort Viridium. It's better to sell that there. And here, experienced mercenaries, right? Man-at-arms, agent, mercenary. They wanted overseers, taskmasters, slave drivers. I don't think any of these count as that. So where do we get slave drivers? Taskmasters. The guidebook Castrum Imperialis is the result of the cooperation between several scholars and military experts. Its primary purpose is to educate and inform laymen on the subject of imperial forts and strongholds in the northern part of the empire. This includes the Vigilus Tower at the eastern edge of the Sergorod's Blade Range. At the eastern edge of the Sergorod Blades Range, Fort Viridium at the highest peaks of the mountains, and the twin towers in the main pass of the Sepis Mountains. You're mostly interested in the locations and history of these places, but in all honesty, one could besiege them very effectively with all the knowledge available in the book. Is that what I'm doing? I'm gonna besiege them? I don't think so. Yeah, I wanna order more books. An adventure book, no. Is there anything else that might be good here? Volume 4, Bestiaris Imperium. Is this a new one? Order a book on non-imperial gods. I'm gonna order a book about the tribesmen of the Searing Plains, because that's relevant right now. Maybe that's useful. You approach one of the small groups of Sadirar water tribe people who hang around the lake, looking aimless, and fall into conversation. As it turns out, they are here on behalf of their people to watch over the lakes. They are sacred, wanderer. The young shaman indicates the whole expanse of dark water ahead of you with a casual motion of his hand. Was our sacred place, our charge, but we are wanderers of the desert, and so we left. Once we came back, all sorts of people were here, and we almost had to take the warpath. The Great Spirits spoke to us, and peace was achieved. Your empire has kept the caves, but the lakes are still sacred, still belong to the spirits, still watched over by my people. You ask him when all this happened. Long time ago, stranger. Long, long time. Before my grandfather's grandfather's time. We from Vitrar have been guarding the sacred lakes ever since, some of us living here in this... He says the next word with visible disgust. City. And indeed, you keep seeing small groups of the blue-clad Vitrar who watch over the lakes vigilantly. You also learn from a group that the bright kelp harvesting is not to their liking, but they must put up with it due to the peace. You leave them be after the chat. Freelancers Guild. Here we have slave... This is a slave driver. So yeah, this is what he would want me to take back, I imagine. Alright, so next time before we go there, we just stop by in Larnak and buy a mercenary that we take with us. And that'll be fine. A shipment of slaves for Torzag's shelter. I'm eating 300 food per day. Holy shit. Not good. I am smuggling right now, actually. Let's keep that in. And navigation. We have a spyglass now. Alright. This one, dowsing rod. Is that worth it? Do I not have anything else here? Candle of the Living. It only protects against undead. I'd rather have the foraging base chance, but getting accosted by undead could literally just kill you instantly. Usually they're easy, but sometimes, if it's a ghost, you're just dead instantly because you can't fight them. Ilani, so what does she do? She has a spear attack. Can cause the target to become immobilized. Bulwark. Assumes a spear stance, anticipating foes moving into her attack. Because this is an Overwatch attack. I don't really understand those, because, like, okay, what happens if you just Overwatch on top of someone's square? And even then, it's like it's got 100 accuracy, I guess. So this is something you could do if you're fighting enemies that have high evasion. But it's still kind of like, is it worth the points? Sky Strike. Send Alani's Falcon Striker to attack and distract an enemy. This is just... Well, it does 3... I guess it does 3 damage. It stuns them. It bleeds for 3 damage, so it does 6 damage. Draw out. A feint that causes a move to move forward and become flat-footed. Immobilize is actually really good. Because it makes enemies unable to defend. Or unable to evade, rather. But since we're not really using her, she should just have stuff that help us do things like Herblore and Healer. Do I not have the regen on Borax? No, I unequipped it by accident. So, let's see. Garrick. Do I have another item that gives accuracy now? Yes. The Great King's Blessed Ring. I want to put that on him, I think. No, let's use this. This gives 3 accuracy, but 5 crit chance. Then we go give this back to her. Okay. So we leave the town? I don't think there was anything else we could do. I brought something. Dried fruit. Oh, they like that. Yeah, they just want fruit. Right. Now we need to find that. That's a lot of sandworms. Counter attack. Bonus damage received. I don't want to take more damage. What the fuck? This skill sucks. Concentrated defense. Yes, let's do that. I don't want them to eat my horses. I think they stole a slave or something. Yeah, they stole 5 slaves. That's really bad. I need them for work, but... I'm gonna give away a bunch of soldiers here, so it'll... We're gonna give over 16 fighters. So that'll... Yeah, that solves that issue. Alright, let's flank them. As per usual. The actions here, they don't really do a whole lot, but they do a little bit. Like, flanking here gives plus 10 critical success margin, which obviously changes the critical success chance from 12 to 22%. And getting a critical success is obviously really good. But it also makes you do 20% more damage, which it doesn't really matter that I have 455. You still do like a certain amount of damage. It says we do 44 damage, I guess. And that can only take out so many enemies, regardless of like their fighting strength. I think. Like if you do... Yeah. You can't just one-shot all of them most of the time. But because this gives you plus 20% damage, I think that means that more enemies die. Minus 10 grit means that they flee, more likely. Right now they are fleeing, and I don't know how this works because none of this makes any sense. But there's a stat here called chase, which gives... It gives plus 10 chase, right? And so I've been using that when they flee in order to like catch them. This one actually gives 20 chase. Maybe that's even better. And maybe like run them down more, but it doesn't say like it says plus 20 chase, but chase isn't a stat. Right? So I don't know what that means. But we get plus 20 chase. And they die, so I assume it's working. Oh, he died. Another attack is incoming. And this also, they lose loyalty when they get killed in combat. Because they survive when they die, you know, obviously. So you might need to, it's just part of the game that you might need to have to bribe them when they get cranky. And it also means that it's a good idea to not necessarily always, like, send them into combat. Like, I don't actually need them to be there. I want to get another wizard. I only have her. And you can see her damage is blue. That means she can actually damage like immaterial enemies, like ghosts and shit. But she's the only one who can. And if there are like 12 ghosts and she gets like injured in the first round, then it's just over. And then you literally lose your entire, like you literally die if you can't damage the ghosts. They just kill every single character and follower that you have. You have completed all of your objectives. Alright, so now we go to Mirage. In Mirage, you buy fruit. That's the only thing you buy there. Titan is in demand here. Just sell it immediately. Not all of it. I want one stack. Bright kelp. Price series is okay, but it's not good. And silver. It's kind of expensive here. Could probably be better, but I'm just gonna sell it. I'm tired of it. Spice. 1-4, 1-3. Nope, not worth. Pottery. Kind of valuable here. How much did I need? Was it 30? Yeah, dragon bone and 30 pottery. So we can sell one stack. That's pretty much that. And as for the rest, it's pretty much just buying dried fruit here. Alright, yeah, that's pretty much it. Procure goods to Torzag. Sure. 175 dried fruit to Torzag. Alright, have a good night, dude. Well, that seems to be about all we can do here. So, Now we want to go to Crystal. Crystal, Drusian, Viridium, Lumen, Acarus. So I have iron weapons and armor, I think. And I was going to sell that. Yeah, iron armaments. -2 fighter cargo. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was sure that the fighters had the capacity to carry cargo. So that's why it's 0 now. Okay, well, fair enough. It's not that big of a deal. Nine insight. Unlocks advanced actions. Man, I'm not sure. I think I might just take strong-minded. I'm gonna defeat that damn evil creature in my dreams. If he comes by again. We go Crystal, Drusian. Click the button! Holy moly. So, Crystal. It's actually not that valuable, like all the way over to the Crimson Gate. But it is more valuable elsewhere. Like, in Arkan it's 18, here it's 14. 19 in Devon. Devon Larnack. Oh, we got some slave cages. We don't have timber or marble for them. Apparently I'm on the wrong story progression. The Return of the Worms. Okay. I was actually expecting to be able to do something here, but I guess we're on the wrong step. You have to be careful here. If you walk through there, you just die. It's very easy to walk through there by accident. So we go to Drusian Quarry. One of your scouts finds a man wandering the desert wearing rags. The relentless sun has already taken its toll on the poor wanderer, as is made apparent by his delirious demeanor and cracked skin. After giving him a little water and shade, he comes around slightly. You learn that he has supplies for a day at most, and is apparently the last survivor of an Imperial mercenary patrol attacked by barbarian nomads. His trustworthiness is questionable, as he is unable to name the prefectus, or praetor, who paid his band for their work. He might be a runaway slave or a free man down on his luck. Enslave him. Eliani, yeah, everybody likes that except for Elani. This is what I expected. She's gonna be a whiny little baby about this the whole time. The Onyx Station. Hire Okwo Specialists. Taskmaster for 30 days. Wait, did they need both? Overseer, Taskmaster, Slave Drivers. Overseer, Taskmaster. Slave Drivers. For 30 days. I want some slave cages. Iron weapons and armor. I think are actually worth... No, this is where I was gonna sell that. Yeah. 53. Yeah. That's good. The Dwarven Gadget. We have 6 of those. You can have a couple of gadgets. What the fuck? And that's it. At this time of day, the Drusian Quarry is bustling with activity. The efficiency and vigor of slaves, as well as the strict but fair conduct of overseers, almost makes you forget that you are looking at a site where back-breaking slave work is applied to get the black bounty of the earth, obsidian. A guide shows you around at the behest of House Okwo, who run the place. Apparently, they are glad to show potential customers this operation they are so proud of. There are veritable mountains of prospected obsidian here, buildings of all sizes and functions, and an army of slaves and workers. Suddenly there is a strange sensation, magic sense, perceptive. It starts as a weird noise in the back of the mind, something barely perceptible, like a whisper. It is a whisper. It takes several minutes of magical and mundane searching to pinpoint the source of the elusive muttering. It is the obsidian. After a while you realize that the phenomenon is tied to as yet unprospected obsidian streams. The voices can be heard only when standing close to the nodes, and only by people with an affinity to magic. Even then, it requires a fair amount of concentration to listen to it without losing the whisper. Yet this does not seem to be a new phenomenon by any stretch of the imagination. Several slaves and an overseer inform you that many are aware here that the blood of the mountain speaks. Locals seem to believe that only specific people, the chosen of the mountain, can hear the whispers, but you are certain it has to do with sufficient magical affinity, however dormant. As for the whispers themselves, it is impossible to make anything out. It cannot be the obsidian itself, so someone or something is using it to project a voice to those who can hear it. However, the voice itself says nothing intelligible, no matter how hard you concentrate on making something out. Okay. You ask the guide about the other quarries in the region. The guide explains that there are a number of smaller quarries all along the northern foothills of Sergorod's Blade, and it's not rare for these to change hands between various factions and trading houses. The largest obsidian quarry, however, is the Vagrus quarry, owned by Okwo's competitors, House Darius. The guide then proudly explains that the production here far surpasses that of Vagrus, a clear sign of the superiority of House Okwo. Okay. Well-crafted backpacks. What is this? Worker cargo. I don't think that that's particularly good, but I'll buy one just to have it. We can also buy medical tools. Can't buy obsidian blades. Seek audience with the trading house's local leader. At the top level of the fortified tower are the spacious quarters of House Okwo's local leader, the merchant Lord Valabentu. You know this from the guard who escorts you upstairs once you declare that you wish to speak to the person in charge. The merchant lord is a tall, heavy-set Dashmahan man, in his 30s, clad in imperial military garb adorned with the striped fur of some large predators. He welcomes you into his large office that is cluttered with mineralogy charts, yield reports, prospecting maps, hunting trophies, and military paraphernalia. Welcome to the largest base of operations of House Okwo in Terra Supra, Vagrus. You can barely hide your surprise at how soft-spoken and articulate the lord is, something you did not expect from his appearance. I am called Valabentu, and I have the honor to represent House Okwo in the Northern Territories. He offers you to sit at his desk, and once you do, he also reclines in his chair before going on. You are not a Ndugu with our house, so I suppose you know a lot already. By all means, it would be a pleasure to do business with you. How can I be of service on this fine day? Ask him about House Okwo's operation in the region. House Okwo has been in ascendance over Terra Supra for a long while now. The acquisition of these quarries have been essential in that, but unfortunately I cannot take the credit. It was before my time. Valabentu chuckles dryly and points to a large detailed map that hangs from one of the walls. We have lined the northern side of the mountains with obsidian and rock mines. The southern slopes provide no such bounties, but the Iosian quarry has turned it into a very profitable venture nonetheless, due to reorganizing it into the ivory collecting hub it is today. We are also interested in the mining of crystals and marble at Lumen and Arken, respectively. Talk about something else. Ask about the Okwo hirelings. I have taken a page from the Venari's book and set up training for specialists who used our new methods and labor techniques. These individuals are now available for hire as contracted overseers and supercargoes here at the station. I hesitate to call them mercenaries, as they are strictly forbidden to fight unless to defend themselves, but the idea is similar. You would be surprised how popular they have become. It appears that many Vagri and traveling merchants struggle with a lack of such expertise. Go take a look at your options if you're interested. Our agents will explain how it works. Ask Valabentu about his past. Valabentu gets up from his chair and walks around the room as he speaks. I am not a vain guy, Vagrus, but I will not be dishonest out of modesty either. I began this life with nothing. No wealth, no mother and father to teach me, no freedom. But I worked very hard, and in the end earned the trust and even respect of my masters. They gave me an education, then opportunities aplenty to prove myself. And so I did. He is standing in front of a large shelf, absent-mindedly watching the dozens of jade statuettes and trinkets on it. This reminds me of my home, you see. Jade is used by the tribes of my people in faraway Daj Maha to create treasures, and so I began collecting statues. It brings good luck. Valabentu shakes his head. But sorry for changing the subject. The details of my past are irrelevant, Vagrus. What matters is that I am a self-made man, but I never forgot the Shalimi spirits of my people. Ask his position on slavery in the Empire. My position, Valabentu sighs, as someone who has heard this question too often, is rather practical. Did you expect something else? Could it be that you expected that I would secretly harbor abolitionist ideas? Maybe you're surprised to see someone you know to be an ex-slave now sitting at the head of a trading house that relies extensively on slave work. The merchant lord shakes his head solemnly. I apologize. This kind of a reaction, a force of habit. People keep nagging me about it as if one was tethered to the circumstances of one's birth forever. That is very narrow-minded thinking. I came to the Empire a slave and worked myself out of my predicament. Do I rejoice at the thought of many Daj Mahans and Tarkians and even people from the Green Continent living lives of cruel servitude? No, but I also do not believe in change overnight. Good change has to be achieved by hard work and patience. Perhaps House Okwo's reforms are the answer for this cruelty of slavery in this day and age. Gift him a jade figurine to add to his collection. That is astonishingly kind of you, Valabentu says as he studies the small jade carving, appreciating every little detail. What greater sign of companionship is there than sharing another's interest? These statuettes remind me of home. They have a calming effect that I appreciate more and more as I get older. I will treasure your gift and your companionship, Vagrus. The merchant lord's companionship is very useful. Offer your services to House Okwo. The merchant lord is about to say that he will think about it when something seems to dawn upon him. Actually, Jesus. There might be something you could help with, Vagrus, he begins, scratching his stubble thoughtfully. As you know, House Okwo is relatively new on the imperial commerce scene, and so our operations can be lacking at more remote locations. Larnak is one such place. We wish to become more prominent in the city, so our leaders, me included, have poured quite a lot of time and resources into strengthening our position in the city, to no avail. Yes, there is a compound there, and we are expanding our horizons, but a recent report informed me that there is a large obstacle in the path of our plans, namely an era of warehouses that we strove to purchase from the local collegium but failed to. The man in charge there, Rashid, was a promising fellow who turned into a disappointment when he failed to secure those properties. Now he is looking for alternative solutions, I am told. Perhaps you could go and help him out. An experienced and skilled individual such as yourself, with the right connections, could turn the tide and pluck the local agents out of their predicament. Make no mistake, without these warehouses, our operation in Larnak is stuck indefinitely. You promise Valabentu you will look into it, should your path lead you to Larnak. I don't want to inform him of the spying. That would imply that I am an unreliable spy. All right. They won't even sell me obsidian though, unless there's a trade button. There is. Is obsidian cheaper here? $3. Yeah, it's actually cheaper. It's the cheapest here, I think. Out of everywhere. Hmm. They don't want bright kelp. They don't want spices. They don't want flavor crystals. They don't want shit. Which makes it hard to buy obsidian, but we can buy 2 stacks. All right. Can't. I can travel there. Is that even worth it? Not so sure. Now we go to Fort Eviridium. Sell him salt. Sell him bright kelp. Sell him oil. Sell him chitin. The prices have gone down. They're not as good as they have been. Yeah, they're all down. $16.6. Oil is 44.4. Bright kelp is 26.4. Luxury wine is 31. Coffee is 83.4. Salt is 15.7. Which is like a 30% reduction or something. That's a lot. I'm gonna go to the mines. That was the plan, so we can bring those guys there. We're distressed today, apparently. So now we're in Lumen. Here we should have 2 quests. Candake, hand over the dragon bone and shit. Ready to take the next step, she asks. You nod. Let me think, Candake says, drumming with her long fingers on her desk. Why, of course, silver and ivory, quite a lot. There are certain alchemical solutions and reactions that can only be achieved by way of synthesis. I am sure our friend is quite capable of securing these goods without being filled in on the details of why we need them. Okay. 4 silver, 40 ivory. Play a game of Dux Bellum. Will we succeed today? No, I failed instantly. Alright. I'm gonna rest before we do anything here. So, let's see. Bright kelp, shitty price. Dried fruit, kind of shitty price. Spice, kind of bad price. Yeah. Nothing really worth selling here. We do need obsidian blades. Like I said, let's take a break there. Can turn this in here. -40 with Loader's Guild. Yeah, I gotta be careful. When you do missions that involve attacking another guild, you lose so much. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we just go all in with the Carpenter's Guild and, you know, fuck the Loader's Guild. That could be okay. So. You have brought the specialists to Latibrium. You head towards the Latibrium's back room, which is separated by a curtain from the common room. You push the curtain aside. You enter a sparsely lit vault-like room, with Cerulean Fignet and the suggestive Caristiona in tow. When Latibrium sees the four of you, a shit-eating grin appears on his face. "Finally," he says. "I was already beginning to wonder. Cold One, good to see you." "Go choke on a dragon's dick," Cerulean replies. "Don't waste our time with empty pleasantries, just get to the point." Latibrium's smile does not disappear. "Ha, ever the charmer. But fair enough, and these two must be Fignet and Caristiona. Have a seat and let us discuss the plan in detail, as promised. Come you too, Master Garrick. Vagrus, come and sit." You settle down beside the table, and the conman has refreshments brought to you all. Then he settles into his carven chair and begins to talk. Listen intently. "So," he begins, "I don't know how much our venerable Vagrus friend here told you, so let's start at the beginning. There is a comitatus called Company of the Ebony Serpent, which regularly travels between Devon and a location unknown to most somewhere in the southwest. Officially, they're independent merchants providing goods to outposts along the way, but of course, in truth, they aren't. They are secretly agents of Cadmador, and their real purpose is to bring various artifacts and news from the Empire to Tectum Horgius, on the border of Dragmalak. With each run, it's something new, but always something valuable. So you intend to rob them," Fignet says in a bored fashion. Latibrium looks at him in mock admiration. "A very astute observation. So here's the plan. The company usually makes a stop in Mirage, so will our Vagrus's comitatus at the same time. On any given day, there are always at least a few comitati stationing at the oasis, so there won't be any suspicion. Although I recommend you come up with a cover story, so that what you're transporting, where you're going, and so on." As soon as we're done here, I will travel to Mirage and con my way into the company's ranks. So when you arrive, I will introduce the Vagrus as an old and trustworthy acquaintance of mine to Tolgor, the Serpent's leader, suggesting the two of them could make some kind of mutually beneficial deal. Tolgor will hate it, but will still not refuse to sit down, as that would compromise his cover of being a traveling merchant on the lookout for business opportunities. He pauses for a moment to let the four of you absorb the information, then continues. Here's where it gets a bit tricky. Tolgor keeps the artifacts he is currently transporting in a dwarven-made chest with several locks. The chest is in his private tent, which is always heavily guarded. No chance of sneaking up to it. Thus, firstly, we'll have to find a reason to be in the tent. That's what the supposed business negotiations are there for. Then we must create diversions. Follow me so far? You assure him you do. Latibrium seems content. Good, he continues. Now, I said diversions, plural, for there are the guards and there is Tulgor, who won't leave the chest under any circumstances, even if the guards do, and we can't kill him, because that would spell too much trouble later. So after you enter his tent, Therulian will work his shadow magic near the company's cargo stockpile. Nothing serious nor deadly, just to get the crew's and guards' attention. Easy enough, although it's a shame that I can't kill a few guards, the Dark Elf nods, and Latibrium continues. This will occur while the rest of us are inside the tent, and will hopefully distract the guards, but it is crucial that you have Tolgor's attention until then. If he dismisses the meeting too early, the whole plan goes down the shithole. I trust your negotiating skills, Vagrus. You ask him how he imagines you to divert Tolgor's attention once the guards rush out to investigate Therulian's diversion. Latibrium looks at Caristiona. From what Garrick told me, the lady here has some special talents, the conman ventures. Not many can resist her charms, Garrick confirms. We'll take her along to the negotiation and promise Tolgor that once we have an accord, he shall have the lap dance of his life to sweeten the deal. Caristiona grimaces, but then nods her head. I am positive the old lecher will like that, Latibrium continues. Again, timing is of the essence. Caristiona must begin her dance before Therulian's shades do their thing. If you manage to pull this off, the guards will leave the tent, and Tolgor himself will be too mesmerized to see when Fignet gets to work on the chest's locks. You'll have a window— that's a retarded plan. You'll have a window of a few minutes to open the chest, get the artifact, then secure the locks again. Ideally, when the guards return and Tolgor recovers, everything will appear as it had been before. Tolgor won't think of checking the chest for a while. By the time he does, you'll be long gone. So how does this sound to you? Sounds like a plan. You're ready to set out to Mirage with the specialists. That's the spirit, Latibrium replies. One last thing, the payment. Yeah, I was wondering about that, Garrick says. Reckon you already have a buyer lined up. Unfortunately, no, Latibrium admits. It would have been difficult to find someone before I know what exactly we'll acquire, but I know from reliable sources that the transported artifacts are always of high value, easily around hundreds of brass. Here's where I was hoping you could help, Master Garrick. You've got contacts all over the region. I could always look round in Tor's Ags, but I'm not too reassured you done have a buyer. Let's just say that if it falls to me to find one, my share will have to represent the additional work. It's not like you have any other role to play, dwarf, Therulian says. Garrick sucks in air, but Latibrium prevents an argument. I'm more than willing to sacrifice from my share, he says. I say we either settle now on a fixed payment regardless of the loot's value, or I won't do the job, Fignet butts in. Otherwise, there are too many variables. Therulian and Caristona seems to agree, so Latibrium offers them 25 brass each. They are content with that. The rest is a three-way split between him, Garrick, and you. That's settled then, the conman says, once everyone agrees on the shares. I shall leave for Mirage this very hour, and will meet you there. Okie doke. They don't need most of these things. Ceruleus crystals. Actually sell for quite a lot in Mirage. But not the prices aren't that good. Velarius. Ash. Larnak. I would have to sell them in Larnak. Or in Utvorar. They're very expensive in Utvorar or Avernum. Alright, well if we're gonna go that way, then let's do that. I'm gonna sell the dried fruit, because I'm heading back. Ah, shit. I need to actually go to Torzag. Because this quest is for Torzag, so we need to go to Torzag. Either away. So I guess we'll go do that. Wait, who am I spying for? I thought it was these guys. Or was it down in the one to the southwest? Yeah. Take a look around Drusian Quarry. I mean, I did that. Right? Okay, we need to go and visit a sorcerer. Okay, so we need to go to Avernum first. There's literally only one sorcerer in the entire world, and it's that guy. I keep forgetting to do this. Discuss the research of life drain. Ooh. Renkailon looks uncharacteristically excited. It seems that he has discovered something he wants to share. The dark elf scratches his face's scarred side absent-mindedly while holding up an old parchment. Remember when I told you some knowledge can be gained from the abandoned ruins of my kin? He asks. Turns out I was on the right track. the right road all along. This parchment here outlines that there are remnants of a dark elven colony called Nagradath in the northern part of the jagged waste between Sunrock and Stonethorn. After it was abandoned by my people, humans tried to colonize it, but apparently they failed because nobody has heard of them ever since. The parchment is an account of a subsequent visit, and it describes encounters with the malevolent forces. I firmly believe this is a place to explore Vagrus. Who knows what we could find? Both things that further my research as well as also valuables. Pretty little valuables. What do you think? You tell Ren Kylon that you would pay this site a visit sooner or later. Give him one of the arcane texts. Sure. Give him an ancient tablet. Sure. Is he still cranky? Yeah. It takes a lot to level it up. Huge chakra hoard? Fuck, it's actually huge. Actually massive. So what is the best thing we can do here? I think just like doing color ranks maybe. Or eliminate leader could also be good. That way they're gonna flee earlier. And then I might not lose all of my horses and shit. 42 HP. What do you mean 3? What do you mean 3? Why can I only... What? Why can I only have 3 guys? This is so weird. Why do they have a whole squad with a fucking leader and I can only have 3 guys? Like why? I don't even understand why it's 3. What is this based on? This is retarded. Huh? There's just no logic here at all. What? So confused. And she's dead. Goodbye. If I can at least get the leader, that'll be good. But I think he just resurrected. And I need... Okay. Yeah, I didn't get him. Well, I did. He died. But I don't know if it was really through that, but we lost a bunch of slaves. They're still fighting. Like, dude, this was retarded. This genuinely pissed me off. Why does it say... Why is it 3? This is the first time it's been 3. What is this even based on? Huh? It's just like, no, just fuck you. No. All right, we're just gonna have to fight it out. We'll manage, but we'll lose a whole shitload of things, I think. Five slaves, 5 workers. We gained 1,000 supplies. Do we have everything? Yeah. Turn that in. All right. This guy is in my party for 21 more days. So unless I go now, I won't be able to bring him over down to Tectum Carvos. So Ceruleus crystals are not worth anything here. Flavo is worth a little bit. Obsidian. Obsidian we can actually bring. Bright kelp. Sellable here. Dried fruit we can sell here. Though I wanted that for Larnak. But what about spices? It sucks, but I'm gonna get rid of it. Alright, so... we need a stack of ivory. Obsidian, mining equipment. I don't know how many workers they want. Supplies, medicinal tools. Mining equipment. Oof. We need more fighters. We also need more workers. We do need more slaves. But apparently they don't want slaves. Surprisingly. We need to buy some more mounts. I would say... we can stock up on more obsidian on the way there. Valerius, Ogros, Abernum, no. I'm just gonna get rid of a Ceruleus crystal and just get an ivory. Let's go to the gardens, visit the herbalist. Ask the herbalist to teach you. To the trained eye, it is not difficult to see that the herbalist is a true master of her profession. And even though she is reluctant to talk in general, praising her work opens her up about herb lore and its applications. She shows you a couple of tricks and recipes that you've never seen before. Buy. Yes, we want to buy like 200 medical supplies. We're at 100. We have 200. Approach the gangs. Sell something. No. +2 resourcefulness today. Get some slime grass. Medical tools. I feel like that's already a lot. I would be surprised if I need even more stuff. Buy some tribal trinkets. Overseers, taskmasters, slave drivers. This is a slave driver. All right. Try to find out more about the wind situation. And they don't tell you anything useful. I think we're pretty much done here. Just triple check. But yeah, I'm gonna actually just take the loss, and then we obsidian, ivory, mining equipment, supplies, medical tools. I'm just gonna buy supplies. Okay, that was all the supplies. Let's buy obsidian blades here. I've never had this much contraband with an actual purpose on me for the entire period of playing this game and trying to specifically be a smuggler. Alright. Let us return. And then on the way back here, we'll buy as much obsidian as we can fit from the Drusian quarry. It was the cheapest one. I believe. Spy? You think hard about how to go about this. The production secrets might be I guess I just didn't do it. I felt like I did, but I guess I didn't. The production secrets might be closely guarded, or maybe the Tribune is paranoid, and the site is simply richer in obsidian than the Vagrus. Still, you have some places you could start. Go straight to the Onyx Station, to the representatives of House Okwo. The stocky building near the dust-covered forum inside the walled compound of the Okwo trade station is the administrating center for the quarry, easily overshadowing a small chapel to Ashkul next to it. There is no door on it. The arched corridor leads into the patio. At the far end, a linen canopy offers shade under which a small fountain cools its surroundings. As a reminder of the opulence of the trading house, greenery abounds. The curator Mirza Torres and his crew works under the canopy, estimating production, reviewing shipping documents, and planning deliveries. You can approach them like anybody else. A young scribe welcomes you, and after checking your identity with an elder, offers you a place to sit under the canopy and water with some kind of citrus in it. Being a Vagrus and a friend of the trading house carries some weight here. How can I be of your service, esteemed Vagrus? The young scribe asks you. You explain your situation to the young scribe, that you might get an imperial contract in Torzag for hauling obsidian there, quite a lot of it in fact. It might become a profitable trade route for you to come to the Drusian quarry and then return to Torzag's shelter, but only if there is enough obsidian mined. You imply that as a friend of House Okwo, you would love to be able to look more closely at their production data, and perhaps even get some kind of a guarantee that they would be able to deliver. Lies, of course. Yet your delivery and reasoning look genuine enough so that the scribe is convinced that she has to convince you. She nods, then shows you the obsidian production data. We have a quite well-established production here, as you probably know, and we expect to retain the level of obsidian supply for many years to come. There are specific plans for all the working force in the coming months, and new, mineable seams are discovered with certainty. You ask her how they can be so sure of that. A crystalmancer works in the mine, and as obsidian is a kind of volcanic glass, he is able to sense it as well as some of its properties. He not only makes sure that we have enough reserves for years, but also directs the workers towards the closest and biggest stores. You talk for another half an hour, and get to know some more details. The main trick is the crystalmancer, though. I see. What do you mean I can't own mining equipment in order to buy mining equipment? Fuck you. I don't have anything else to do here. Except either buy supplies or buy obsidian. And I think we'll buy obsidian. We can also hire some fighters, some workers. I don't know how many they'll want. But I think like all workers we can get would be good. Because I assume that we'll just be able to like hand them off, basically. Alright, so we want to go to Mirage again, I think. Because that's where the Garrick mission is. Let's rest before we go in. So I used some resourcefulness and I figured that might be a good thing to have for the quest. The Caper. Okay. Proceed with the plan to rob the company of the Ebony Serpent. It does not take long to confirm that the company of the Ebony Serpent is indeed taking a rest in Mirage right now. You can see their banners on the far side of Mirage Lake. Luckily, there are several other comitati encamped here as well, so it is easy to get lost in the crowd and avoid attention. You and your crew are but a few of many travelers. Should you wish to proceed with the plan now, you have to wait for night to fall and wait to be approached by the incognito Latibrium. Proceed with the plan tonight. While you are waiting for the evening to arrive, you take great pains to remain relatively unseen and introduce yourself by a different name to anyone you might speak to during your stay. These precautions serve as a protection for later, when the company will inevitably figure out that you had something to do with the disappearance of their artifacts. While resting in the shade and surveying your surroundings, you're approached by a familiar face. It is Latibrium, but he is wearing the Ebony Serpent's colors. "Finally you're here," he says with visible relief. "I haven't been here too long, but gods only know how long I would have endured the company of the company. Dour people. Let's get this over with." "Less," Garrick tells him. So speak about what's important, you dumb fuck. Is everything prepared on your end?" "Yes," Latibrium replies, but somewhat hurt. "I used my previous research of the company to blend in as a new recruit, sleazed my way to Tolgor, and today I told him that I know you from before, and that it might benefit him to do business with you. Did it in front of an audience of strangers and company men too, so he would have a facade to maintain. At first he was reluctant, but just as I predicted, he wouldn't dare compromise his cover story of being a traveling merchant looking for profit, so he agreed to have you for dinner this very evening in his tent. That's where he keeps the chest with the artifact. I'll fetch you later. So far, so good. Time to begin with preparations. You sit down with Therulian to discuss the distraction he will provide, while the rest of you dine in Tholgor's tent. Well, as soon as you leave for the meeting, I will make my way to where the company keeps its cargo. Not too close, mind you, somewhere along the perimeter. I'll be as discreet about it as I can. I promised you not to produce casualties, didn't I? You ask him how exactly that will work. Would you reveal your secrets to me in turn if I told you about my magic? The Dark Elf asks you indignantly. Don't be a fool. I'll do my work. You do yours. Rest assured, the guards will be all over the cargo stockpile, chasing shadows while you're in there. Make sure you draw out the conversation with Tolgor as long as you can, so I can get into position and bind the shadows to my will. You promise that you will do your part. Therulian settles down in the shadows of a thicket, while Caristiona sleeps and Fignet paces about, and so nothing remains but to wait for the evening to arrive. The hours go by slowly at the sleepy oasis. Dusk settles slowly. Soon, the Tibrium appears alongside 2 ebony serpent guards to escort you to Tolgor's tent. By then you have washed and donned your best attire to appear respectable. Caristiona, Garrick, and Fignet accompany you, posing as your slave dancer and your 2 most trusted advisors, respectively. To be on the safe side, you also take some of your companions along. Therulian has left already, making his way over to the company's camp to begin preparing for his shadow magic distraction. There is no turning back now. All right. Three? I can only have 3? Garrick. Okay, well, in that case, then I want Garrick, maybe Vorax. The only reason I bring Vorax for this is because it allows me to occupy an additional spot. But maybe bringing Harbeck could be good because of his skills. Because he's got like Skulker, Perceptive, Savvy, Con. He's got Persuasion, though. He does have good stats. Evaluate. And she's got Magic Sense, Persuasion, Charismatic, Perceptive, Savvy. I think this is not a bad team. Renkylon. Renkylon is kind of ass for these things. He is Savvy and Perceptive and stuff, but I think I'll go with this team. You're escorted into the camp of the company. It looks huge, well guarded and well organized. The tents and uniforms are made from dark cloth and bear the insignia of a folded up black serpent on a green field. Tolgor's tent is luxurious without being too pompous, just like something that a successful but serious trader would use. That is only the surface though, as on the inside it rather resembles the residence of a military commander with its puritanic furniture. Also, it is very heavily guarded. Would you have come indeed for a mere business dinner without ulterior motives, you would be surprised. In accordance with this, you deem it best to feign at least some minor puzzlement. At the far end of the rather spacious tent, there is a simple table behind which sits a man with an oily black beard who must be Tolgor. Next to him, you spot Latibrium pouring wine into his master's cup. An intricate chest sits on a rug to your left. You do your best not to give it a long, hard look. Tolgor bids you to sit. On the table there is a meal of figs, olives, dried fruit, mushrooms, bread and meat. Breed. Serviceable enough, yet nothing too fancy. Welcome to my humble abode, the leader of the Ebony Serpent says. It is a pleasure to have you as my guests. Our common friend here tells me you've got a proposition for me. But first we shall eat, and you must introduce me to your lady friend. Tolgor eyes Caristiona, and you grab the opportunity to praise her dancing skills, despite being bald and having gigantic black eyes. But yeah, you know. Suggesting that maybe when the talking is done, she could demonstrate them. Although your host tries not to show it, you can tell that he is interested. Otherwise, however, he is rather unenthusiastic. The dinner is uneventful and boring. After you have eaten, you begin to talk business, but it's obvious that Tolgor is not really keen on sealing a deal, and does all this only for show. You can see that you are rapidly losing his attention. Which is a problem, as there might still be some time until Therulian manages to distract the guards. Do your best to hold Tolgor's attention for longer. Very high, we're really fucking good at this shit. Yeah. I have 100. You quickly suggest a deal that is simply too good to be dismissed. And involves our arcane... I need to drink water. Jesus. You quickly suggest a deal that is simply too good to be dismissed and involves arcane artifacts. Garrick also reminds Tolgor that he still has not seen Caristiona's dance. The tainted courtesan assists you by smiling seductively. This seems to work for the time being, but you must not let your momentary advantage go to waste. Your words convince Tolgor, and soon you shake hands to seal the deal, even though you have no intentions of following through with it. Hopefully there will not be any need for that. The Ebony Serpent's leader calls for more wine. Latibrium is quick to comply, then turns his eyes towards Caristiana. Now let's see that dance, he says with obvious lust in his voice. Most certainly, the tainted seductress smiles. She rises from her pillows, gracefully steps on the table, then begins to sing and dance, practically piercing Tolgor with her gaze. The man is almost instantly mesmerized, leaning back with eyes and mouth agape. So great is Caristiana's unnatural charm that even you have a hard time averting your gaze from her. Luckily, she seems to know exactly how to channel the effects of her dance, so only Tolgor is directly affected. Just then, from outside the tent, a series of agitated screams can be heard. Therulian must have finally succeeded in unleashing his talents on the camp. The guards inside draw their weapons. Some of them already rush outside to investigate. Yet Caristiana dances on and Tolgor keeps watching. "Master, didn't you hear?" one of the guards asks, utterly bewildered. Tolgor only waves his hand, not even glancing at him. Yes, go take a look. I'm sure it's nothing." The rest of the guards rush out of the tent, leaving you alone with their leader. And the chest. You and your companions keep seated, but Fignet tiptoes to the chest, produces his lockpicking tools from underneath his robe, and gets to work. You keep watch from where you are. Fignet applies his formidable collection of skeleton keys, lockpicks, chisels, and hammers to the intricate dwarven chest. Caristiana keeps dancing while Tolgor drools. You rise carefully, expecting to have to secure the artifacts to your delight. The Ebony Serpent leader does not even notice. But of course, things like this are never that simple. Suddenly you hear Fignet curse. You ask him if there's a problem. "Indeed there is," he replies, nervously. "Damn thing is much more complex than I thought possible. The opening itself is not the problem. It's the time it'll take. See, there are several smaller side locks. I can pick the main one, but someone must do the others meanwhile, or we'll never finish in time. Maybe some of you know a thing or two about locks, at least enough to assist me with my guidance." Apparently I do. Dexterous 40, Savvy 42. Finally you hear a loud click and the chest opens up. Fignet lifts the lid, and there it lies, a collection of odd, red-hued stones in a box, as well as other rarities and curios. You can only hope that they were worth the effort. You slip them under your robe while Fignet closes and locks the chest. And none too soon, as almost immediately afterwards, you can hear the guards returning to the tent. They find you sitting just as you were when they left. Caristiana is finishing her dance, and Tolgor slowly regains his senses. He shakes his head to gather his wits. "Now that was something otherworldly," he mutters. Then he turns to the guard. "You were saying? Any trouble outside?" "Not sure what it was, master. Maybe some anomaly. It seems as if the shadows of the night came to life and started messing with people and cargo," the leader says when entering the tent. For fuck's sake, Tulgor curses. You can't even be safe in an oasis anymore. Any of the cargo lost? His guards shake their head. The Ebony Serpent leader then addresses you. This is an unforeseen turn of events. I'm sorry, Vagrus, but I'll have to call off our recent deal, as sweet as it sounded. I'm sure you understand. Thanks for the dance, though. Now if you excuse me, I'll have urgent matters to attend. My man here will escort you back. Latibrium takes you out of the Ebony Serpent camp. I'll see you in the morning, he tells you, and heads back to play his part some more. You are soon back at the Comitatus. Therulian joins you half an hour later. After some well-deserved sleep, you awake, content with last night's occurrences. As far as you can tell, everyone in Mirage is talking about the mysterious attack against the Ebony Serpent's cargo, but no suspicion falls on you. However, you cannot keep yourself from wondering what will happen when Tulgor opens the chest in Tectum Horgius and finds it empty. He will most likely put the pieces together and realize that you were the culprit in some way, in which case you can only hope that your efforts to remain incognito proved successful enough. Latibrium, Garrick, and the 3 specialists join you at your tent, where you produce the box with the strange stones, along with the handful of other curios. You ask Garrick to try and estimate the stone's value. The dwarf examines the artifacts for some time while stroking his beard and scratching his bald head. He looks more disappointed by the minute. Well, fuck, he says at last. These aren't nearly worth as much as you promised, Latibrium, you incompetent little turd. There's some kind of minor magical stone from the looks of it. They'll yield about 150 brass, 160 tops, if I can find a buyer, which will take a friggin' lot of time, even in Torzag's shelter. Fignet is visibly irritated. So what do we do now, he asks. I have a suggestion, Garrick replies after some consideration. Given the 3 of you were already working for fixed wages, I'll pay you right here, right now from the remains of me stash. 25 brass each, was it? As for you, Latibrium, I'd love nothing more than wring your scrawny neck, but I must admit that you did help us to some profit after all. So 25 for you as well, and 5 brass finder's fee on top of that, which leaves me and the Vagrus with around 45 or 50, depending on the buyer. This way we can all go our merry fucking way. How'd that sound? The dwarf waits for the others to react. Fine by me, Fignet is the first to speak. I'm none the poorer for it, and I actually don't have the time to hang around until you find a buyer. Same here, Therulian falls in. You're all getting on my nerves, anyway. I will be ecstatic to be on my way. As for me, Caristiona sighs, I am grateful for the opportunity. This is what we agreed to, isn't it? And at least it was a mildly entertaining adventure. Garrick looks at Latibrium. Which leaves ya? From the way he is wringing his hands, you can tell that the conman is torn between his greed and his innate cowardice. Finally he swallows and nods. All right, then, so be it. Garrick produces his heavy pouch and begins to count out coins. After everyone has received their share, Latibrium returns to you. Well, pleasure doing business with you, Vagrus, he says with a grin. Suppose this is the end of our collaboration. He turns to the others. As for the 3 of you, I hope you are now content that you have chosen to work with me. Could have gone sideways, as most of your gigs do, but I suppose it turned out all right this time, Therulian says begrudgingly. You delivered on your promise, buddy. Well, Fignet grumbles, biting a silver coin. I'll fuck off before you'll get emotional and start the hugging. Hopefully I won't see any of you ever again. Then he turns and walks towards the oasis. Therulian follows him. I will now leave too, Caristiona announces theatrically. New lands and new prospect awaits. I could accompany you, my lady, Latibrium says in a tiny voice. In your sad and lonely dreams, my boy, the Temptress says, and leaves your camp on her impossibly long legs. Latibrium lets out a forlorn little sigh and turns to you. I'll be leaving too, then. Safe journeys, Vagrus. And with that he is gone. As soon as the 2 of you are alone, a shit-eating grin appears on Garrick's face. Already suspecting something, you ask the dwarf what it is that makes him so happy. He erupts in ugly laughter. Those morons, he says with vicious glee, after he has laughed for a good minute. These might look like simple dragon stones, all right, but for fuck's sake, they ain't that common. These are mighty fine and rare, each capable of detonating and bringing down a block of buildings for sure. Weapons, Vagrus, weapons. We're friggin' rich, you get it? Admittedly, it will indeed take some time until I can find a suitable buyer once we get to Torzag's shelter. But sooner or later, I'll manage. Now put those stones away, somewhere very safe, and let's fuck off. You cannot really say that you're surprised, as you have known Garrick to be a devious, greedy bastard ever since he has joined the Comitatus. And after all, the others seemed content with their share of the loot. You stash the box of dragonstones while the dwarf goes about camp singing a happy song that sounds like someone is skinning a Jakra alive. Soon it is time for the Comitatus to continue its journey. Plus 1 box of rare dragonstones. Alright, 4 insight. Nice. Giga strong-minded. I like strong-minded, I like savvy. Perceptive is nice. What about stuff here? Skulker, survival. Intimidation, navigation. History is kind of cool. Let's just do that. Get a bunch of skills. All right. We're ready to go. What was that? A black dwarf merchant? Weird. He can come to Vitrar. Quarry Overseer to Vitrar as well. All right. Now we go Larnak, Tectum Carvos. We might have to fight more. More worms on the way, but it is what it is. We can keep marching. Strange winds abound. Oh, this actually updated? There is a voice carried by the wind, the voice of a woman in pain. Perhaps others might know something about this. That says that it actually updated, so. Find Rashid at the Okwo compound. Alright, that was a quest. The Okwo compound is not easy to find, partly because it is tucked away in a tumble-down neighborhood, but also because it is rather on the smaller side. The handful of decrepit-looking buildings beyond the crumbling wall huddle together in the darkness just like the unfortunate souls you have seen living on the nearby streets on your way here. When you enter, the guards look quite surprised to see a respectable customer and direct you to Rashid right away. You cross the dwindling market they set up on the courtyard and enter the main building. Rashid is a nervous, irritated Tarkian man who has a lot of problems on his hands. What do you want? He barks at you, but then you tell him that the merchant lord Valabentu sent you. He apologizes immediately and invites you to his office to talk. There you are offered Tarkian coffee, and once the servants are dismissed, Rashid describes the matter of the warehouses in a conspiratory tone. The location of these warehouses make them absolutely necessary for our operation here, you see, but the damned House Bedvios agents outbid us out of spite in the last moment. Now we are sitting on our asses, unable to proceed with our expansion. An expansion is paramount for House Okwo, Vagrus. I have some ideas how we could get our hands on these properties, if you're truly here to help us. You suggest buying them out, and Rashid nods. Yes, that is possible, because House Bedvios has already realized that this was a bad deal for them, but they would die first before selling it to us. They would sell it to an independent buyer, albeit only to one who looks legitimate. Then there are the loaders themselves, the original owners. According to my sources, the sale had an option built into the contract, whereby the guild could reverse the whole thing under certain circumstances, effectively pushing the Bedvios out of the properties that we could then buy. However, we're not exactly on friendly terms with the Collegia, so we would need someone to mediate. Lastly, Rashid sighs, there is the option to cut the throats of the Bedvios agents. I don't like it at all, but if someone independent did it, we would not suffer the consequences and could buy the warehouse right away, since such a loss would certainly convince the competition to give up on their claim. So let me know what you think. We can do this top one. I don't have this, and this is killing them. I'm gonna buy it. It's the easiest one. We just need to... We just need to go out here and equip my banner. That's it. Now we should have enough renown. Use your renown and wealth to buy the warehouse from House Bedvios. You leave the Okwo compound and locate the warehouses. In truth, you expected something less in scale, so you are somewhat surprised to find several blocks of well-maintained, stocky buildings that now display the Bedvios colors. The agents of the trading house welcome you, even though they inform you that House Bedvios does not currently publicly trade in the city. Once you tell them that you're here to make an offer on the warehouses, they change their tune and become much more hospitable. A long negotiation takes place then, because even though the Bedvios are quite willing to sell the properties, they would not wish to lose money on it. Unfortunately, I fucked up and I actually only have 2 resources today. So we'll have to fail. Fuck you. For better or worse, you managed to settle on the price, and once you present the silver, the contract is signed and validated by both city officials as well as the monks of St. Gaius Decus. You then walk back to the Okwo compound and present the ownership documents to Rashid, who becomes rightfully exhilarated. He can only give you a little over 50 silver for the warehouses, and you have to accept it due to your arrangement with merchant Lord Valabentu. In any case, the issue with the local properties is concluded, and you can report your success to your employer at the Onyx Station. By the time you return from the Lord, this place will surely have improved and good progress shall be made, a smiling Rashid confides when you say your farewells. Alright, it only cost me 8 brass, so who cares? I was okay with 60, but he actually gave me 52, so that's whatever. My book arrived. Tribesmen of the West by Mar Quada. Mar Quada may have been a con artist and a fraud, but she was also without a doubt a revolutionary when it comes to ethnology and diplomacy, Zandros says with some bile as he hands you the book with the yellow cover. Tribesmen of the West is the final book written by the renowned explorer Marquida, the one she considered her crowning achievement according to the foreword. Most of the chapters are about the region of the Searing Plains, where the Sadirar people live. Quada takes her time to describe the people and their handful of major settlements: Utvarar of the Fire Tribe, Vitrar of the Water Tribe, Eitrar of the Earth Tribe, and Kotrar of the Wind Tribe. The explorer had good relations with the Sadirar, and was even adopted by the shamans as a member of their overtribe. The last third of the book deals with Marquada's attempt at synthesizing a new religion from Shalimi and the spirit faith of her hosts and converting them to it. Although she admits her failure in the end and announces her terminal illness, implying she will not live for long, she concludes that she is happy in the knowledge that she has unlocked the truth. Interesting end to a long story. Chart location revealed: Kotrar. Okay, found a new town. From reading a book. What book do we read now? The second volume of Saints and Demigods. Order a history book about the wars of the Fourth Age. Sure. Here we need Savvy 5, Alchemy 2, Herblore 2. Approach one of the groups of tribals loitering. Yeah, we've already read that before. Alright, we'll rest here. And then in the morning we buy whatever... Nope, there's nothing new here. Tectum Carvos. Yep, you can come. Then we buy supplies, because they want supplies. And the dried fruit is for here, the hive. Here's your dried fruit. You tell the ambassador that you have brought them a shipment of dried fruit. Excitement is in the air, quite literally. A wave of chittering washes over the whole hive, echoing down the tunnels. Bring the sweet here. Erg, take it from your drones, the ambassador says, bowing its head. You receive a pile of coins from the liaison as payment, but you can tell that this has improved your relationship with the embassy too. It was good business. Yeah, they just want sweets. Every 10 days you can bring them dried fruit. I think I don't want to do erg mounts. If I wanted to do erg mounts, I think if I do a mercenary playthrough, I might do erg mounts. If I don't just do the lizard mounts. But yeah. So yeah, we just max out supplies, and then we go and we hand all of this stuff in. Oh, sandworm. Need 292 defense, which we have. So then we can just fuck them up. I do like concentrated defense. Bonus player ward. do both of these things. How did they get slaves, bro? Yeah, fuck you. Absolutely blasted them. We only got chitin. But if we rest here, we can hunt. And I'm fatigued, so it's like, it's fine. And that way we can carry everything. As such. We'll probably have to fight them again once we get there. I imagine. The worms. Approach the town. You have to fight to get inside. Yep. But at least it's only this kind of combat. They're not that bad. Actually, my defense is pretty ass. Maybe we should do companion combat. Eliminate leaders. Yes, here we can deploy 6. So, like, why could I not deploy companions before up to 6? There's just, like, no reason. So this is just the same encounter as before, right? And this is fine. At least it should be. Do I kill the... I think we'll kill the smaller ones first. Not the one with the armor. Oh. It actually does, the vomit actually does damage on these guys. Got him. Oh, we're evading? Ooh, it's a lot easier this time, I feel like. Oh, right. We were just in the middle of this. But yeah. That should help. They only have a 5% crit. Lost tons of soldiers. No, actually, we didn't lose a single soldier. Alright, sure. Okay. Now let's see how far this takes us. You can hire fighters here and just sell them back to them. Actually. I brought supplies. Here's your obsidian, 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 ivory, ivory, obsidian blades. Mining equipment. Introduce their newest taskmaster. They have an accord. Introduce their newest overseer. They have an accord. We brought a squad of new defenders. Give them supplies, supplies, supplies. Medical supplies. So let's see. Medical supplies is 5. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Level of preparedness 145. Like, what the fuck do you need? Right? That's the question. How many fighters do I have? What the fuck do they need? Like, holy shit. They didn't want workers. It sounded like they wanted workers, but apparently not. We actually make a good profit selling... Well, not a good profit, but we do make a profit selling these medical supplies. So I'm buying them for like 1.3 or something. I think the obsidian blade's also a profit. Alright. I was expecting that to like just instantly be done. I'll be honest. Again, like nothing, I don't think anything is worth buying here. Like chitin is like an okay price, but Larnak is literally 5 days away, and it's just much better there, like much better. There's no point in buying it here. We can buy their supplies and then go up and give it to them. How about that? $173 preparedness. Shipment of slaves to Larnak. Sure. So here we want to go to Dithrar, which we can do. We go and do this. I have 9 days of food. Doesn't feel like it's a great idea, but YOLO. The wind picks up slowly but steadily until it is clear that a sandstorm is about to hit. Fortunately, it is a milder storm and should not be much of a problem. Pulling up your hood and hiding your face behind a scarf, you order the crew to do the same and push ahead. You cross the sandstorm without much of a problem. Right. Abolitionists. What if we go here, here, and then we go up here to Eitrar, Kotrar, and then Litrar? Crossing the bleak hills, you notice a flock of birds circling far, far up above the Comitatus. As you progress further and further into the borderlands between Imperial territories and Dragmalak, however, the avians begin to descend and you can see that they are in fact drakes. Their black scales betray them as creatures belonging to the isolationist country on the other side of the region. Yet glints of the pale sunlight on metal betray them as drake riders, and one of them swoops down, landing on a hill's crest just ahead. The creature spreads its wings menacingly and lets out a blood-curdling roar, while the rider raises his spear. "Halt, travelers!" the man shouts, but his voice must be projected by some magical means, because he is still too far away to be heard so clearly. "You are not welcome in Dragmalak," the rider goes on. "Our land has closed its borders off. Turn back or face our wrath." You are not sure that he is expecting an answer, but you can shout back at him nonetheless. Tell him that you wish to trade in mighty Dragmalak. It is good business. The reply is quick and decisive. No trading with outsiders. Take your business elsewhere. Raise your hand as a sign of understanding and turn the comitatus back. Okay, so it's gonna be like somewhere around the edges here. Need to go. Your scouts locate the small grove of gnarled trees and thorny bushes among the hills only because Eulus gave specific instructions where to look. Leaving the comitatus behind, you enter alone, moving carefully between barbs and branches to find a small muddy pond at the center of the thicket. Strange flowers grow around the water, but there is nothing special or particularly interesting that catches your attention. Then you spot movement to your left. A lone chameleon is sitting on a branch at eye level. It crawls slowly upwards, but stops when you step closer. It changes colors fairly rapidly, eventually settling on an orange and purple scheme, which is odd considering that everything around it is brown or gray. Clearly it does not feel threatened by you as it rolls its bulbous eyes and licks its face. Since nothing else happens, you leave the thicket behind, hoping that whatever Eulus wanted you to see here, you saw. You return to the comitatus. To the four corners. Alright, so now we need to go up there. Okay. Nothing anywhere there. I think. Fort Refuges. This is my last day of food. Okay, so there's nothing anywhere here. We have to go in either of these. I don't have a choice because I'm out of food. As the comitatus strikes camp and dusk falls, the chill of the desert dark sets in. This night, however, is much harsher than what you are normally used to. An ill wind blows, and you see small clouds of breath as you exhale. This cold is quite perilous. You have to prepare for an uneasy rest. Morning comes at last, but the merciless cold has taken its toll on your crew. Luckily, you were able to avert the worst of it, but people did not rest well. As the sun rises, you press on, somewhat shaken by the cruelty of the wasteland. No, -1 vigor, that's super bad for me right now. Is this it? Earth Tribe Settlement. "19 supplies. That's fucking garbage. What about 2 mounts? They do shitloads of damage, though. I wasn't really thinking about that. Let's do a spearhead and an insult. Though, I don't know. Spearhead reduces grit. Eliminate leaders. There's like no difference. Jesus. I don't think they have any leaders in here. Bro, the painting on their little loincloth just looks like pubes. It's terrible. It looks like they have a dick and balls painted on their loincloth. It's terrible. Ouch. Oh, what the fuck was that? Oh, he's a shaman. Oh, I didn't see him because he looks exactly like all the others. We got him. Got his leader. Didn't get to finish him off. Yeah, they lost their leader. They immediately just broke. Killing their leader is strong, I think. Yeah, they went to 12% grit instantly. Vorax lost loyalty. Oh, because he died. Who's this guy? I thought I... Alright, I thought I gave them this guy. So I gave them two dudes. I don't know why he is with me. Or did I actually hire 3 guys? Maybe I did. But I don't think so. Yes, we have to go to this oasis place. Oh, we found it. Crypta returns from going ahead of the column and says that she has located what seems like the desert encampment of Terath's Sunstriders. It is a few miles from your current location, according to the bounty hunter. The camp is not very imposing, comprised mostly of sandstone huts and some bone barricades. The Comitatus could still avoid alerting the camp, but Crypta seems ready to take them on. Are you? Advance on the Sunstriders' camp. You halt the Comitatus and follow Crypta on a meandering path along the dunes to take a look at the liberated tribe yourself. The camp of Terath's Sunstriders sits between rocky outcroppings surrounded by fine yellow sand. The tribe seems not to care for defenses, which strikes you as odd, since they are relatively out in the open. You return to the Comitatus to decide how you want to proceed. When you arrive back to the Comitatus, your combs are already in arms and look fairly alarmed. They point upwards, and you can see that what at first seems like birds circling above. As they descend, it becomes clear that they are drakes. The riders in black armor sit upon their backs. Black dragonfolk, Crypta says and clacks her beak angrily. The drakes land a couple of dunes away from the Comitatus, and the riders beckon you over. You and Crypta walk over to them under a peace banner, and see that they are indeed black dragon riders, clad in their signature dragon steel plate armor. Hail, travelers, one of them welcomes you. We have no right to poke our noses into your business, but you should know, the tribe over these hills, he points over their shoulder, are under our protection. So, he looks at his companion and they chuckle before adding, off you fuck. Ask them who they are. The riders simply stare at you, refusing to answer. Their arrogance is frustrating, but the two drakes' reptilian gazes check your anger. Tell them that you are here on a job. Tell them that you are here to deliver justice. The riders are unimpressed by what you say, but before they reply, they look at each other. That is all it takes. Crypta tears the bow off her shoulder, knocks an arrow, aims, and shoots a serrated arrow, all in one fluid move, right into the eye of one of the drakes. It is a 1 in 1,000 shot, and it slays the creature instantly. The huge reptile begins thrashing in its death throes, and crushes its rider, while the other drakes leaps into the air, urged on by the dragon rider. Crypta looses an arrow after them, but she misses the moving target. Meanwhile, the rider begins to blow a horn repeatedly. You ask the bounty hunter if she is insane. They were going to scorch us, she yells while scampering towards the Comitatus. You should thank me for saving your ass. You rush after her and get to the Comitatus just in time to see liberated slaves and a handful of black dragon warriors charged from the Sunstrider camp towards you. The drake returns as well, swooping down and breathing green flame on your crew. Well, that's way worse than I was expecting. This is like an equal fight. That's terrible. Yeah, we're gonna definitely need to do makeshift barricades is a 3% shift. It's very cheap. It's actually good. You can only do it on the first round though. Do we do eliminate leaders? Do we do insult? Insult increases grit, but critical success could also be good. I don't know. Costs 5. Sure, insult. Ooh. I think I fucked them kind of hard. Actually, I think I lost. Alright, so eliminate leaders. I think that's going to suck because they have a bunch of dragons. They don't have dragons. Do these guys suck? But my guys are all injured as well. We have her. Can she do anything from the back? Lead stun. Oh shit, they have high fire resistance. That's ass for me. Actually, not having Garrick here is probably the worst part. This guy is dead already. Ooh, two down. Two down. I would say that I'm winning here at least. We can move her back. Or move him back, because he's out of energy anyway. Would like to kill one more of these guys. One armor is insane in this game. Like, they only have one armor. I didn't mean to attack that guy, but whatever. They only have one armor, and they are tanky as shit because of it. Especially since I haven't really been focusing on leveling my guys. Ah, you fuck. Killed one Dragon Rider, I think. Oh, they lost 3. Pursue. Oh, thank you. We won. Lost a lot of soldiers, though. $300 supplies. Once the slaves and dragon fighters are defeated, the Drake begins to climb higher and higher, abandoning its allies on the ground. Its flame-breathing attacks have abated somewhat in the second half of the fight, but now it seems to be all out of dragonfire. Victory is yours. You corral the captives back to their camp that you secure. The handful of dragon agents all perish during the fight or afterwards, at the hand of the liberated slaves. They tell you and Krifta that their camp was taken over by Cadmador agents and used to raid their targets, mostly Imperial assets, but very often Sadirar too, if only to implicate others. Their leaders beg you to let them go. They promise not to raise arms against any other travelers and only wish to live in peace in separate groups. Krifta seems to have doubts about their innocence, but you can see that she is unsure about the fate these people deserve. I'm just gonna execute them. She always gets mad when I try to just take them as slaves. Yeah, just kill them all. Everybody likes it except for Ilani. Krifta agrees that the Sunstrider deserves such punishment. She spearheads the executions, which does not sit too well with your combs despite the fierce fight just half an hour ago. You have the crew gather the valuables, including the dragonsteel bits and pieces from the fallen soldiers of the Black Druid and the dragon bone from the slain Drake. They haul it back to the Comitatus. 2 dragonsteel? 4 dragon bone? 400 supplies? Alright, well we're good then, for a while. But we're also done, right? So let's go last oasis, see if we can resupply there. Never been there. During a short break, Ilani walks up to you and tells you that she wants to talk privately. She looks serious enough so you indulge her. You walk away from the crew and she crosses her arms before beginning to speak. So, hey, I kinda wanted to talk about our arrangement, she begins, looking distracted. We started by me pledging myself to the Comitatus in return for you pledging it to the defense of Tectum Carvos, but, and I don't know if it was entirely clear about this, I also retain the right to leave your company should we, rub each other the wrong way. And lately, I feel like we are not compatible. I respect nature, beasts, and life in general, while you seem to care little for these things. I know it's not fair to ask you to change, but if things continue like this, well, I don't know if I can stay for much longer. Please don't say anything now. These things are best considered before acting upon them, I find, but I hope you'll make up your mind. She gives you a little informal salute. With that, she walks away, and you are left alone with your thoughts. So true. Last oasis. There is no way to say whether this large oasis is indeed the west... is indeed the westernmost one, but the tiny outpost of sandstone huts and ragged tents at its heart is certainly the last place to grant any kind of comfort so far west from the cities of Terra Supra. Palm trees sway gently in the warm desert wind, and in their shades azure lakes stretch far and wide, a drop of green-blue in the endless yellow. This is the jumbled huts and tents making up the outpost. The handful of rotund sandstone huts and worn tents that make up the permanent camp people cheekily call an outpost sit beneath a thicket of palms beside the large lake. Several Sadirar are idling around the place, lazily going about their chores. Take a look around. Your walk around the outpost takes you back to the spacious area in the shade of tall palm trees that was set aside to be the statio, where your Comitatus is also camped. You talk to the Sadirar who run the place, and they point you to one of the huts when you ask to see someone in charge. Once there, you announce yourself outside, and in a moment or two, a husky but feminine voice invites you inside. You duck in through the low doorway, and it takes your eyes a minute to adjust to the darkness. Welcome to the last oasis, traveler, the voice calls from the shadows, and you become aware of the scent of herbs and bugweed inside. I am called Duzani. The people in the oasis are under my protection. The accent identifies the speaker as Taj Mahan, and then just as your eyes become accustomed to the twilight, she steps in front of you. Your host is revealed to be a woman with a striking appearance, tall, slender, handsome, dark-skinned, with a gaze that pierces the soul. Her headdress is a crest of colorful feathers, and she holds a quarterstaff heavy with tribal trinkets carved to look like a snake. Once you introduce yourself and state your business, her stature relaxes some, and she nods her head. You will find that this place can be a sanctuary to those who respect its independence, as well as the freedom of other travelers, she says, looking out the door. My magic prevents the recent sandworm invasion to spread here, but it should also discourage anyone else with ill intent. If you have come to deal in rarities and curios, come to me. You will find everything else at our small market. If you'll excuse me, I have something to finish, but you can come back later and we can talk business. Respecting her wish, you leave the hut for now. The handful of rotund sandstone, blah 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 blah. Visit Duzani. Duzani is busy concocting something in a large cauldron, but she is open to talking or doing business. The twilight of her hut hides many strange ingredients and curios. Ask her about herself. I feel like in order to play this game as like a companion game, you need to know everything already, almost. Like, I have gone everywhere that's obvious immediately, and I have only found one character that actually is like a good person. There's also the orc in the beginning, that I got that guy the first time I played. But those are the only two characters I've found that are actually like good aligned, so to speak. That won't get mad if you like liberate the slave or, you know, maybe even take a slave instead of like, executing them or something. But yeah, like Garrick obviously is one of a kind. Harvick is, I think our Harvick is a little bit more like he can do a little bit of both, but he is a criminal. And like Nadir, so he's just evil. The bounty hunter girl she's a little bit more like neutral, but she leans evil as well. Duzani explains to you that she is a mage priest of Shalimi, the religion of her homeland. We sorceresses are also spiritual leaders, at least in the coastal cities. The shamans perform that role for the jungle-dwelling tribes, but I could not find my place at home. The spirits called to me, so I traveled far in search of my destiny. But the Imperials were not very supportive of my journey. You might have heard that our people are not exactly on the best of terms, ever since they tried to subjugate Taj Mahal. Long story short, I have a bounty on my head. I came here far from Imperial territory and found a measure of peace at last. The Sadirar took me in and nobody has come to collect the bounty. One day I plan to return home, bringing with me all the knowledge I gathered during my extensive travels, but that day is still far away. Ask her about Taj Mahal. Taj Mahal is a land far, far away, occupying the peninsula on the northeast corner of the continent. It is called the Land of Endless Rain, an exaggeration for us Taj Mahans, but certainly quite shocking to someone more used to the arid realms beyond our borders. Druzani smiles to herself as she recalls her distant homeland. The cities on the coast are a sight to behold, Vagrus. The setting sun paints the huge ziggurats blood red, and the large abug lamps dance gently with the azure backdrop of the twilight sea beyond. The sorceresses lead our people with wisdom and patience, but firmly too, stepping up to any challenge that arises. At least that's how it was until the Imperials took over Taj Mahal. They were driven out, more by attrition than anything else, but everybody expects them to return one day. There is bad blood between them and us. Talk about something else. Ask about her training. I was trained to be a sorceress by the order of Kajubra Shah, mage priests who understand and control Shah, the true essence of the world. Once I finished my initial decade of learning and practicing magic, I was taken on as an apprentice by the great Dejena and completed my tutelage under her wings. She taught me how to live, how to die, how to fight, how to think, how to lead, and how to control Shah to protect others. But I admit that the more practical arts I learned can be put to use more often, like alchemy, divinations, protective charms, and even destructive spells. Talk about something else. Ask what she thinks of the Sadirar's spirit faith. She gives your query some thought before answering. At first glance, Shalimi and Sadirar's spirit faith are fairly similar. Moreover, even Orcish spirit faith could be included there. We all believe in similar things, that spirits inhabit our mortal coils, but after the failure of these shells, the spirits or souls keep existing. Some pass on, others remain behind. But Orcish beliefs stop there and have little concern for spiritual creatures of different nature. The Sadirar go further, recognizing nature spirits and communing with them, essentially bestowing human-like intelligence to beings of energy and thought. Shalimi, however, considers everything to be of the spiritual world. Matter, energy, souls, even time come from the same source, the essence that makes up reality. We call it Shah. This source transforms into everything we can experience around us, and also into a lot of things that we can never understand. We are all one thing, creation manifesting, trying to comprehend itself. For this reason, a balance must be maintained. Not just balance between nature spirits or between nature and mortals, but also in us, in our souls. When Shah is corrupted, all creation suffers. What does she sell? A trained foraging lizard. Alright, I'll buy a lizard. A greater luck talisman. 5 accuracy, 5 evade. Holy shit, this is insane. It costs like nothing. Turkey eye brooch. Alright. Give her something. Give her some spectral residue. Suzani accepts your gift graciously, stating that this will indeed help her research. Thankfully, they do have supplies here. Can you sell dragon steel here? Not in demand. All of these things that we just got like a few of, I'm just gonna toss some there. But yeah, I think we'll stop there for today. It's getting late. Need to buy some more horses. They don't have a lot of horses here though. Need more fighters, more scouts. We definitely do not need more workers. We actually need to fire, like, most of them. I'll buy all of the supplies. They actually don't seem to have anything for sale here, really. Like grains, chitin, like, barely anything. This is only for supplies, it seems. But yes. We'll go visit Fort Refugees just to check it out and like so we know what exists there. Because I think things sell for quite a lot there. So it would be a good place to know about. like be able to go there, right? But yeah. Until next time, thanks for hanging. Have a good night. Bye bye.